See this centipede? Now, I like to think about humanity as if it were a centipede. Now, let's take for a minute to look at my metaphor about how humanity can be deconstructed, and you can think about it like this. If this was seeing through time, if this direction is time, humanity doesn't know where it's going. Now, I would also like to add that it's also kind of like a schizophrenic or a delusional person with dissociative identity disorder, because each and every country, each and every person, even groups like businesses decide where humanity goes in the long run. And every single person operating at the same time, not knowing how it's affecting the other body parts of what might be called, I call it the human organism sometimes, I call it the body of Christ. There's many ways that humans might be able to understand me. Just like this centipede might not be sentient enough to understand where it's going, how, or why, or maybe even that it's a living thing. I want humanity to understand that each and every leg, each and every human being, see those legs right there? That's like what each and every human being is, in some sort of way. And that each and every human is like a leg on that centipede. I may not have an exact 100% metaphor, but this is definitely the most accurate one. Which, if every single country, every single business, every single person keeps becoming corrupt, not planning accordingly, having a unified aim or a goal and plans accordingly for the future, especially in the ways of, say, what the average religious person might say is sin. But I think that what people who are not religious need to hear, they need to hear sin explained in a more rational and less oversimplified and reductive way in order to get them to understand how and why they should turn their lives over to a more moral system, even if they don't believe in God. And I think that Christians, Islamists, Jewish people everywhere should rejoice in my interpretation of the Bible, as it will bring us all closer together, and that we all have to let go of whatever God or gods we may or may not believe in, and that we have to understand that humanity is also heading towards a cliff. See how this centipede is just walking? It might not even know why or how. It's just looking for food or something. So humanity, because of the sin that it has, each and every human, every business, every country, not knowing how to live life, not knowing how much it's affecting all the other parts, all the other legs of the centipede, is heading towards an apocalypse. And it's the same apocalypse talked about in the end times, and in other apocalyptic prophecies are very similar. But the most similar that's going on is the actual biblical prophecies talked about in the Bible. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, everyone becoming more corrupt. And people have to, I don't think that sin should be such a scary word that people don't understand. And I think that as someone like me, who technically is someone very close to a Christian, I want people to understand that this big, bad, scary word, sin, can be explained in a very rational way, where I think out of every single moral belief system and every single lesson, the biggest, main, golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. And there are, rare circumstances where people are different and unique. But for the most part, you wouldn't want someone to be rude to you or mean or hurt you. And then if every single person were to view themselves as part of a larger organism, like if that spider or that ant would it view itself as part of that centipede, as part of that tree, as part of those suns and stars and moons and everyone? Maybe you wouldn't want to hurt nature. You would care more about pollution. You wouldn't want to rob or steal your neighbor. You wouldn't want to covet what your neighbor has if you cared about them as if they were another person that was just you and part of the same organism. And I think that it can inspire and motivate people to love themselves, to love each other, and that everyone needs to jump on board of my interpretation of the Bible, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's biblically accurate, and that there's no reason to ever think that you should hurt another person, even going by what people in the Bible have said. And not only that, it's just rational to think that you should never hurt someone to the best of your ability. Self-defense might be something that people talk about and say, well, what happens if, someone breaks in your house? And that can be complicated at times, but I want to bring to the table a way of believing in not just God, but believing in becoming a better person. I could prove by looking at the Bible and moral belief systems across the world throughout time that every single person in the world should, at the very least, not hurt anyone, be nice and kind, don't steal, and hope that there will be a brighter future for all, and know that with the amount of people having embodied in them anti-Christ-like values, or another way to say it that isn't as biblical and scary or might trigger people, is corrupt values that lead to a harsher life that won't suit them in the end, such as watching TV too much, doing drugs, stealing, being violent. Those are things that will hurt you in the end. If you steal, lie, cheat, you can get caught, and that will affect your life for the worst. And, if you are mean to people or rude, you can lose friends, have your family messed up, create family issues. There's so many reasons why being moral is good, whether you believe in God or not. And that with all these prophecies coming true in the Bible, I would say that we have to put aside our differences in our interpretations of God and wait for him to come back and tell us which interpretation is the most accurate. Which religion is the most accurate? Which God is real? Are there many gods? Are there only one God? Is there a chosen race? Is there, people might say, are the Jews the